Hi everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. I'm working on a 330 and it was not pumping oil when I fired it up. So I thought I'd go through the way one of these pumps works and kind of dispel some of the myths. So it mounts right there, you can see that. You see a little oil down the reservoir there, that's the oil inlet hose from the tank. Here's the pump body. Now normally when you're looking in there at first you're going to see this, mounted in there, obviously with screws and all that, but I want to explain exactly how it's working. So that little barb is where the oil comes in from the tank. That center port, get the camera to focus, runs all the way down to the bottom. See the hole there? So as oil comes in, it goes into that center passage, gets down into that reservoir right there. Now you've got your vacuum diaphragm plunger. A lot of guys replace these things when they aren't really bad because this thing's not pumping oil. Well, what I have personally found is you've got to prime this system a little bit, but you got to be careful doing it. So this upper area diaphragm slips into that. I really have got to. I ordered a tripod for this camera so that I can do work with both hands and not do this kind of fumbling around that I'm doing here. But that's how that diaphragm mounts. Obviously the spring goes underneath it to provide a rebound, but the pulse from the crankcase, a vacuum pulse, pulls it down. So as that metal plunger rides up and down in there, it's applying pressure through the bottom right here. So as oil's flowing in, it's pushed down under pressure. So that's pressurizing this little reservoir, and you can see that notch in the gasket right there. That notch corresponds into that open area. God, I know I'm fumbling this. That open area pushes oil up. So let me get this diaphragm out again. So oil will come up. You see that squiggly right there? Oil is going to come up into that area under pressure. We get our diaphragm back. You can see there's a lot of holes in that. So the oil comes up through that hole. There's a cutout in the cap. Slot takes it over to this hole right here, which lines up with that hole. That hole lines up with, I know this is terrible lighting, just beyond the screw back here, right there. That's the passage that takes it down to the bar. Sounds complicated, but in reality it isn't. What I like to do is pump a little oil through there with an oil can, just like that. And once the pump is completely assembled and bolted in place, you can pump a little bit into here, but realistically just a little shot down there to make the plunger seal into the cylinder is enough. What you don't want is oil loose up in here. That's not ever supposed to have oil. You can actually see there's a little hole right there. I guess it would eventually drain out, but you're going to impede your plunger action because as it goes down, it needs to vent atmospheric pressure through that hole, and the same thing for coming back up. It's got to be able to draw and relieve air as it actuates. So anyway, that's how one of these pumps work. Don't assume your diaphragm's bad. I mean, this one is obviously very flexible, but these things have gotten hard to come by, and there's some guys that are selling them for upwards of $40 on eBay just for that diaphragm. exhaust all of your options, because usually you can make it work. So I'm going to get this put back together and we'll do a shot of the saw running.